What's up, everybody? Welcome to the new studio. My name is Gunner Lane with the Stay in Your Lane show right here on G100. You can find me on iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, everywhere you get your major platforms. What's up, everybody? How is everybody doing today? I'm back, and I'm so excited. As you can see, we got a little bit of a difference here. Welcome to my living room. This is literally my living room because we have nowhere else to film because I don't know where else to go film. And I think that's one of the things that looking into this, we got to be like, well, where are we going to film? What's something that we're going to go out there and really do? And I'm trying to figure that out right now. And we're going to be going great and everything's going to be going good. So welcome. So as you can see, this is a tribute podcast to Shrek. Welcome to the 25th edition Stay in Your Lane show of Shrek. This episode is literally nothing about anything else but Shrek. That's what I meant to say. So I want to get into it just a little bit. I kind of got some ideas I want to talk about, with Shrek and everything. And then we're going to also end it on Shrek 5. We're going to go over every single movie that there is. Now, when I say every single movie, I'm just going to kind of break down what it is. So if you've never seen Shrek before, this is the time I'm going to tell you to go to another video. There'll be another one out soon. So just kind of know that right now. As you can see, I brought out all the Shrek stuff out today. So thought I would show you a little bit of my collection right quick and kind of just let you see what I have and what I'm going to do. So here we go. So if you look on the table right here, there is some Shrek glasses. So back in like 2007, when Shrek 3 came out, they started at McDonald's. You could get a Shrek cup for $1. Like it was literally like $1 more on the menu. Look, this is the time that I would say that my family came in clutch because everybody knows Gunner loved Shrek then. So what did they all do? They got the kids menu, got me the cup. So I had a good bit of cups back in the day, but unfortunately, when I was moving to this house, this apartment, I unfortunately broke half of my cups, and it literally devastated me. And little did I know, karma, well, I wouldn't say karma, somebody must have heard that I broke my cups because my friend Erica Cothram, who is coming on the podcast in a couple weeks, by the way, she was like one day just happened to been on eBay and saw that they had these cups. Now look, these cups ain't valuable. They're like $5, for all of them she paid. But literally she got me some more cups and didn't even know that I broke my other one. She just said, I saw these. And when she handed me the bag that night, I didn't even see what they were. She said, I just have you a surprise. And literally I felt the bag and I was like, you got me Shrek cups, didn't you? And she's like, how did you even know? I was like, because I know a lot of things. Oh my goodness. See, look, I'm over trying to be perfectionist. Then I realized I left a blanket sitting up there on the couch. Let's see, what else have I done? I got a remote right here. Look at me go. So, anyways, yeah, I got the Shrek glasses. Thank you to Erica. Thank you for definitely, being in clutch and doing that. Also, I have a vintage. I call this vintage now. So if you look on the counter here, I have a VHS tape. Now, when I grew up with Shrek 1, now I don't think I ever had it for any other Shrek movie, but when I was a kid, we had Shrek on VHS. And there's my original Shrek VHS. Okay, I'm lying to you. It's not my original. I actually found it at a yard sale, but it was by my house, so it was really close. And I'm just going to be honest with you. I do not think they ever used this because they don't even like it has a scratch on it. It stays in the case at the very end with the thing. So, I mean, it was all in one. I just decided to set it out. If some of you people have never seen a VHS before, I mean, it's kind of crazy that some people don't. Also, let's get more into it right now. We have my Shrek poster here. So this is a signed autograph from Mike Myers, Cameron Diaz, Eddie Murphy, and John Lithgow. John Lithgow. How do you say his name? I can't say. I don't remember. Let's see. John Lithgow. John Lithgow. Okay. I thought it was Lithgow, but no. Lithgow. So, yeah, I've had this now for like 2 years thanks to my brother gave me that. So, I don't know how much they paid. I don't want to know how much he paid because I know that probably was a pretty penny. So, yeah. Anyways, I just thought it would be something cool to have. And it really is. It's something I'm really grateful to have. So, yeah, that's kind of like what I have set up. Oh, I have a Shrek book over there. Just be lucky I didn't wear the Shrek socks today or the Shrek shirt. I can't fit in the Shrek shirt right now because I've gotten fat again. But it is what it is. And then look at the logo for today. Ain't that the something right there? Stay in your lane with Gunner Lane. And hopefully I don't get copyrighted for that. But I didn't say anything with Shrek when I was making it. Thanks to ChatGPT. I know how we all feel about ChatGPT. It is something that we ain't supposed to be using because it uses so much water a day. I understand. But it's Shrek. Anyways, I don't know. I just decided to put in there. I was like, make this ogre style. I think that's what I did. I put my logo in there and I said, make this ogre style with ogre ears. And this is what it gave me. So I'm so excited for that to happen. It was really cool. And then if you look around the studio right here, you'll see little things like my memo, the old Outsiders podcast. We used to have this little sign right here in front of the desk. I have it now. Yeah. Oh my gosh, guys. So speaking of the Outsiders, and I'll get back into Shrek in just a moment. About 2 weeks ago, I went to where we filmed the location of it, right? Like where we, made our little studio at and everything. And unfortunately, we are not continuing on ever the Outsiders, which is okay. I'm okay with that because look, we still have locations like this, but I had to go break down the equipment and everything because the equipment we bought just like 6 or 7 years ago. So it's not really that much old equipment. And I was like, I really need a new sound mixer for different things. And so I was like, hey guys, if we're not going to use it, I'm going to go get it. And I did. And yeah, I'm very grateful that I did that because it's definitely something that we really needed for this podcast, and I'm just so excited. So yeah. Anyways, welcome to the recording here of the Stay in Your Lane show. I'm really excited. So let's get into Shrek just a little bit. Shrek was created back in like the 1990s. The book's form was, we know that Shrek has been through a lot, and I'm trying to imagine what it was like trying to get a script made or a book even of an ogre that falls in love with a princess. And you're like, how is that possible? How is that even a thing? And they actually based it on an actual, I can't remember, don't hold this to me because I don't really exactly know, but there was an actual situation like this back in like the 1930s or 20s, something like that, maybe 1940s, somewhere around that time era. It may have been later than that, all I know. But during those times, there was this, they just said a ugly beast of a man and he married a beautiful princess. So I mean, is what it is. I think it's cool. And people are like, that's so weird. No, it's not weird. Like, the thing is, people define beauty, and I'm just like, what is beauty to you? Like, what makes you stand out? Why are you so much better than this other person? Now listen, if you got some bad BO, that's another problem for another day. But I'm just talking about at this moment stuff that goes into everything, So I'm just like, is what it is. So anyways, they kind of base it off of that. They start making this book, and then Shrek the book comes out. Completely different. If I remember correctly, Shrek had hair in the book. Could be wrong on that. I need to look that up right quick. I'm going to look that up while we're talking. But yeah, Shrek, he was literally, just this guy that no one really cared about. Just didn't see eye to eye with nobody. I don't even know if he knew his name before. Okay, so I found a picture of Shrek just now. It's a 1990s children's book. He had a little bit of hair, not a lot, just a little bit. I don't know. Like, I don't know if you can see this. Hold on. Let me kind of pull it up a little bit more. Let me go to images. I think it's better on images. Well, it just brings up the same stupid crap. But anyways, this is what Shrek was like originated on right here. If you can see this is what Shrek was originated on. And he had a little bit of hair, but when I look at this picture, I can kind of see why they got Chris Farley. Ooh, I know that's a kind of a thing to talk about too. Trying to get him to play maybe because they kind of looked alike. Like not saying that Chris Farley looked like the ogre, but they had similarities. Kind of bigger guy, reddish color hair, red brownish hair, and it's like one of those things that that something's going to definitely happen. So let's go deep dive into it. I'm not sure about the donkey and all that, or donkey. As far as I know, they had Eddie Murphy, Cameron Diaz for Fiona. No, they had somebody else for Fiona. I forgot her name, but they had all these people, but the main thing was Shrek, and they had Chris Farley playing Shrek. And there's actually recordings of him playing a Shrek. Unfortunately, and I believe it was 1997, he died from an overdose. Chris Farley did. So it kind of put the whole production on hold because now, like, what are they going to do? Because probably without anything, if nothing would have stopped production back in the day, I bet you not, they would have had Chris Farley as Shrek. And I bet this movie would have came out in like 1998, 1999, probably around that time era. I think. I don't know that. I'm just saying that. But, they eventually came out with it. It may have been 2000 when it even came out. But they came out with it in 2001. They hired Mike Myers, to play Shrek. And it's so funny. Like, when you look into it and, like, actually, like, do some deep research of Shrek, they gave him like a Canadian accent at first. And there's actual footage of him talking in Canadian accent. And he don't sound like Donkey that all that. I can't talk like Shrek. But they do all these different things. And it's so really cool that they did that. And I'm like really surprised by that. So, yeah, they got Mike Myers to come on. And then Shrek, the movie, was created. And it came out, on the what was it, May 18th, I believe it was, of 2021 or 2001. And around that time, I was just a baby when that movie came out. I was literally an infant. And I don't remember it because, like I said, I was an infant. But my Aunt Laurie went to go take my family, my sister, my siblings into it, and to go see it. And as they went, everything went great. Apparently, they saw each other. They, went and met. Whatever. What the heck am I saying? They went to the movie theaters, and as they went to the movie theaters, they watched Shrek. I went along as a baby in a little, car seat thing, whatever. And apparently I didn't keep my eyes off the movie. Now, I don't remember any other movie as a kid growing up besides us watching Shrek. Shrek was like the biggest thing growing up to me. Like I said, the VHS tapes. Those things right there, we played it constantly. Rewind. You'd see it all just go back in reverse, and then it all just come right back, so it was pretty cool. I don't remember any other movie, though, going to see as a kid or watching, really. I remember watching the movie Spirit with a horse. I do remember that a little bit. But, yeah, so Shrek was like a big thing in our household, especially going to see it in movie theaters. My Aunt Laurie took me to every single Shrek movie that there is, and I'm going to make her take me to the next Shrek movie when it comes out next year. So, anyways, getting to the point, we're about a year out, by the way, from Shrek. So Shrek 5, you better not like be moving that, so we'll get on that in a moment as well. But we went and saw Shrek. Growing up as a kid, I had the Halloween outfits. There's a picture of me as Shrek. Funny thing, my Aunt Laurie was my world, still is my world. She took me to the Halloween store as a kid, and I wanted to be Shrek for Halloween, of course. So she took me. We went, and the only Shrek costume that they had at the time was a large. Mind you, I'm 3 to 4 years old. So how is I'm going to fit in a large costume? So my Aunt Laurie, God bless her heart, she gets that large outfit and she takes it to her house and she hems it up a little bit, bakes it. And there's a picture of me and it's so adorable. I hope maybe one day she can find it. But there's a picture of me as Shrek, and it is so funny. I mean, I have the big old belly, the cotton belly, the ears, everything. And I'll never forget that. That was such a monumental moment in my life. Besides that, I used to have a big old Shrek plushie. I don't know whatever happened to it. I'm just going to assume it got thrown away. Maybe it got broken or something. As a kid, you don't realize that these things are called valuables. And I don't really know if it was a valuable, like these cups and everything are. These cups, by the way, were recalled. Mention right quick. These cups, yeah, they were recalled. Back in 2010 or 9, whenever the movie came out, they did this huge recall. Take your cups back to McDonald's and they'll give you $1. That's what it was. They'll give you $1 if you bring your cups back. You don't give them $1 for this. They'll give you $1 if you brought the cups back. I wouldn't take the cups back. We drank out of them for years. The old ones I did. These I've never drank out of. There's 2 in here, I believe. Maybe 1. Okay, there's 2. They were both right here. No. Okay, I only have 1 left now. I used to have a Fiona cup that was from Shrek the Third, but I got only 1 Shrek the Third cup now, and then the rest are all Shrek 4. I'm going to work on maybe getting all the Shrek 3 ones because, might as well make the collection go even better. I want to get, a little bit more stuff. Here's the thing, though. I do love Shrek. I don't want my whole house to be Shrek. Does that make sense? Like I love Shrek to death. I mean, there's a song, in Shrek 2 called Accidentally in Love, and I play that at almost every wedding before the actual ceremony starts because it's such a beautiful song. Because the original song's like, dun, 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 she said, "What's the problem, baby?" But the song I play it's more, low, and she's like, "So she said, what's the problem, baby?" And it's so good. So, anyways, yeah. So Shrek 1's made. We have everything literally from Shrek 1. Going from Shrek, he finds his true love. Shrek is something that you just don't get from a lot of things. People want to talk about fitting in. Shrek didn't fit in these other places. He didn't stand out. He didn't, he was the villain. If you be honest, he was the villain. People were scared of him. People didn't want nothing to do with him. They judged him before they got to know him. And sometimes in real world, that's us. Do you not agree? Because I agree. Sometimes people judge me before they get to know me. And it's okay. I can tell when people judge me now. And I kind of get that weird look and I can just tell. So it is what it is. But anyways, yeah, Shrek, that same thing happened to him until a little ass came along and bumped into his butt and, was scared to death. And there was Donkey. Donkey was literally the greatest character in Shrek, besides Shrek, I think. I mean, obviously there's many more characters, but Donkey is literally just one of the greatest things ever to exist. I just think that character, I don't know who thought of putting a donkey into this movie, but it was great. He's like a dog, he's just kind of everywhere. He's loyal. He just really wants to be loved by everybody. And there's nothing wrong with that whatsoever, being loved by everybody. So, anyways, going into it a little bit more, Shrek, he goes through, and all of a sudden the night comes and he's eating dinner and he hears three blind mice, or he sees these mice in his place, and he's like, "What are you doing in my swamp?" And then all of a sudden, he gets hit by Snow White on the casket on the table and everything, dead broad off the table. Regardless, he meets Lord Farquaad. Lord Farquaad is wanting to become a king so he can have a kingdom, right? And he says, "Pick number 3, my lord. 3, 3. Pick number 3, my lord." And it's so funny. I mean, I can't stop laughing at that. But anyways, he meets, Shrek there, whatever, and Shrek goes to this broad, and he wins the victory of going to find Princess Fiona. He goes to this castle. He fights the dragon. Of course, Donkey wakes the dragon up, but it is what it is. In that moment, Donkey finds love as well. Him and Dragon fall in love. Well, not in that moment, but then they do fall in love eventually. Dragon had something out there for Donkey. Let's just be honest. She just saw him and said, "Let me pucker up." So, anyways, Shrek meets Fiona. She gives the token, and he wipes his nasty sweat on it. They go through. He hasn't slayed the dragon yet, and they still got to get out. Never does slay the dragon, but he does stop it from getting to them. And they go along on this trip. Great trip. They talking, walking and everything until sunset. And when sunset happens, they needed to find shelter for Fiona because she has a curse that she doesn't want people to know about, where she also turns into a ugly beast, is what she describes it as. I'm just this horrible, ugly beast, but theoretically she's an ogre. And as she, progresses along, she's getting worried, and then she's kind of feeling catchy for Shrek as well, and she never thought she would have, but she did. And they fall in love. But then when it came time to it, she heard Donkey and Fiona, because Donkey now found out that Fiona's an ogre, and they're talking inside this little cabin. And Shrek hears them because he's about to tell Fiona that he likes her. And all I know is next thing you know, he hears her saying, "How could someone ever love an ugly beast?" And he thought he was talking about him, talking about Shrek, but no, she was talking about herself. And next thing you know, it's a whole big ordeal. Shrek, dramatic as he can be, got all angry, and he went and got the kingdom people, whatever, and they came and picked up Fiona, and you could tell it was just one of them starchy things. But then come down to it, Shrek's like, "I can't do this. I can't let her get married to Lord Farquaad." So the dragon, bring back the dragon from, the one that he tried to kill, somehow gets free, and Donkey finds her. They fall in love, and then next thing you know, there goes Shrek on with Donkey, with Dragon, back to Lord Farquaad's kingdom or whatever castle. And they proceed to find Fiona almost getting married, and it's almost sunset. And then a big broad happens, because then when sunset does hit, she turns into the ogre again. And Lord Farquaad's like, "Oh, so hideous." And next thing you know, gods, gods, gods. Big things happen. Lord Farquaad gets eaten by the dragon, and then next thing you know, they fall happily ever after. And then, "I'm in love, ooh, I'm a believer, I couldn't leave her if I tried." So yeah, that's literally Shrek 1. Shrek 2, let's go ahead and get into Shrek 2. Before we get into Shrek 2, let's talk about the musical of Shrek. So there is a musical of Shrek out there. It's called Shrek the Musical. I've never been in it. I want to be in a Shrek the Musical, but I don't know what I would be in Shrek the Musical. Like, that's the thing. I am not that musically inclined, to be surprisingly. I love musicals. I do some here locally. But as far as anything else, I don't do musicals. I've never have, and probably I don't know if I ever will. Great little Broadway. It did really successful for a long time. I saw it when I was 11 years old. It came to the Von Braun Center in Huntsville, Alabama. And me and my Aunt Laurie went. And we made it just in time, and it was great. I'll never forget that moment. It was such a good time. But that Broadway musical is based off of Shrek 1 as well. So it's all in there. And they bring out Lion King and part of it, and then there's Puss in Boots. It's so funny, and I love it to death. Anyways, we're going to kind of pass Shrek the Musical, even though it's a great musical. We're going to talk about Shrek 2. Shrek 2 is literally the best thing ever. I honestly, Shrek 1 is the original. It's my baby. So it's like when you have your first kid, I guess it's your baby. So the baby stayed with me. It will always be my number 1. However, Shrek 2 is a whole different scenario, different director, took it a whole different route. And I'm going to say for the better. because it was literally so good. You get introduced to, Prince Charming, Fairy Godmother, King Harold, the Queen. I can't remember her name at the moment. Lillian, is it Lillian? I can't remember now. There's a lot of different, the Fiona's parents. I'll just say Fiona's parents. You get introduced to a lot of people. You get introduced to the townsmen, the other fairy tale creatures, and Gingy, big Gingy, everything. So that movie right there is so good. And it's also because, they're different. They're a different couple. They're obviously ogres, and Prince Charming was too late getting to Fiona in the castle at the Dragon's Keep. So obviously he's upset because he wanted to one day be king of far, far away. He never will be. Still will never be. Here's the thing. If Prince Charming would have not probably had ever acted like the way he did, I could see a scenario where Shrek in the later years could have possibly made him his king. Well, no, because he wasn't kin. I guess you got to be kin to be king. So, that's how Fiona or Shrek, goes. So they make these magic potions, whatever, because they want to off Shrek. They want to kill him so he won't be in the picture anymore and make Prince Charming a Shrek with parentheses. So Fiona doesn't know the difference, but Fiona knows something doesn't feel right. So, it kind of puts everybody in a worry. Shrek gets word that he's going to lose his true love. So he goes to Fairy Godmother, which he didn't, I don't believe, know at the time that was Prince Charming's mother. But he wanted to, he wanted to change himself for true love. And next thing you know, he takes the true love potion. A True Love's Kiss, whatever, something like that it was called. Next thing you know, he's a human. He's a human. And they did a great job of making him a human. That was like a good representation of Shrek as a human. He turns into a human. Fiona turns into a human as well again. And something still ain't right. And Donkey's now a horse. And continue on the story a little bit. They fall in love again at the very end. Let's see. A fairy godmother went to go zap him because she said ogres aren't supposed to live happily ever after. And when she zaps him, King Harold, he, runs out in front of him and it hits his metal plate and it went right back to fairy godmother and it made her disappear. So it was really cool how that all happened. So Shrek 2, honestly, I give that a 10 out of a 10 movie. And I give Shrek 1 a 9 out of a 10. Is that mean of me? Because I really liked it. I really like Shrek. So, Shrek 2, I meant. Anyways, Shrek 3 and Shrek 4. Let's go ahead and talk about the elephant in the room. Shrek 3 and Shrek 4 just aren't it. I think they're great movies still. I think they were kind of, I get the base of it, but at the end of the day, I don't think it was probably the best I've ever seen Shrek ever. So, Shrek 3, King Harold passes away as a frog. In Shrek 2, King Harold, after he gets hit, by the metal plate, he turns into a frog because he originally was a frog. I don't understand that. But anyways, I guess the kingdom was very new at the time. So Shrek 3, King Harold's a frog, and, old frogs don't live, so he croaks. No pun intended. What a great movie, I guess, in a sense. I mean, it is what it is. So King Harold dies, and on his deathbed, he says to Shrek, "You have to take the kingdom." And he's like, "Dad, I'm not fit to be in the kingdom. Is there anybody else? Anybody at all?" Who? And then King Harold mentions there's a guy named Arthur and you have to go find him. So Shrek goes on this quest and there's something else going on though. Fiona kind of feels like she's kind of has a feeling for something and she wants a kid one day, a baby. Little she knows she's about to have triplets, but she gets pregnant and she's scared to tell Shrek that she's pregnant. Because he was kind of like, I don't know about kids, it's just me and my swamp with my wife, donkey, and all this and that. So she's kind of worried to tell him. So as soon as he sails off to go and find Arthur, she's just like, I can't keep it in anymore. And next thing you know, she says, Shrek. He's like, what is it? I'm pregnant. So anyways, they find out now he's worried. He has a nightmare about babies, like a million babies, seeing him naked and everything. It was funny. Finds Arthur and the high school thing. They take him on this trip back home. The ship wrecks. A lot of things happen in that moment too, So anyways, besides the point, they get back to far, far away with Arthur. And Arthur at first thought he was supposed to take over the throne when literally it was supposed to be Shrek to take over the throne. So they have a little conflict, whatever. And then Arthur's like, I'm leaving. I'm going back to school and blah, 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 blah. And all I know is Prince Charming is wanting to kill Shrek. So after they capture Shrek, Prince Charming's also trying to take over the kingdom still. Villain, I guess. And next thing you know, they do this play. And at the end, Shrek is supposed to get stabbed. Well, out of nowhere, all the fairy tale creatures come out of nowhere. And they start attacking during the play. And Shrek comes out with these guards, whatever. And I don't know. Prince Charming, he went to go and stab Shrek, and he missed. He went through the armpit like an idiot. So I don't know. It was supposed to be Prince Charming's happily ever after. Next thing you know, it was not. When, again, Dragon hits the castle where Rapunzel with her weave on, or whatever you call that thing, it falls and kills him. I guess it kills him. I don't know if it ever does kill him. I mean, they make it where he goes through the hole, but I don't know if it kills him or not. I hope it didn't kill him, because here's the thing about Prince Charming. I think he's such a good character in Shrek. I wish they could bring him back for Shrek 5 and maybe somehow work him through there. Make him kind of maybe realize what he done. Maybe realize that he was a bad person. So, and maybe kind of become friends with Shrek and maybe go on quests with him or something. I don't know. That'd be an interesting topic. So here we go and talk about Shrek 4 right quick. Shrek 4 completely changes. And Shrek 4 is literally the fourth movie that I would probably watch out of Shrek, because it's not Shrek materialed. And let me make that make sense. So Shrek, you see Shrek 2 and they got this big, beautiful castle. You see it from far distance and you see the other places around it. And Shrek 4, they just put a castle on an island. And I mean, it's far, far away, but you don't see it. You don't see all the palm trees like you did in Shrek 4 or Shrek 2. They made it kind of just small. And they never technically go into far, far away until the part that happens, which I'll get to. So let's go into it. Shrek 4, it's starting out as a great movie, like they're like, oh, there's tourists that love to see Shrek, and he's the man that doesn't change his diapers or something. Him and the babies, all the triplets and Fiona, they're all getting along. They're all doing good. But then he realizes every day it's the same. It's the same every day. And he just wants to feel like an ogre again, just one more time. And it's really hard for him to feel like an ogre, he says. And next thing you know, there's this thing that goes over him, and they go to the birthday party, which is in Far, Far Away, but it don't look like it's in Far, Far Away, but it was. And they, sing happy birthday, and Shrek does the roar or whatever, and he gets really angry. So he goes outside. Fiona yells at him, so he gets even more angry. Oh, I'm going to do what I got to do, blah, blah, blah. So he takes a walk. But in that time, Rumpelstiltskin sees him, and he just, Rumpelstiltskin is not a good person. So Skilson is what we're going to call him. Skilson's not a good guy. And he sees Shrek, and he knows that Shrek's frustrated, and he's going to take advantage of that. So he gets his cart, he makes the wheel fall off, and Shrek comes up on the cart with the wheel fall off, and Shrek helps him up, and then Skilskin invites him into the cart, whatever, which is also like, I guess, a bar lounge with also a desk and everything. And Shrek is like, just saying how he wants to feel like an ogre again for just one day. And that's what Skilskin's like, well, that's funny you say that. That's what I'm specialized in. So Shrek is like, oh, well, tell me more about it, blah, blah, blah. And then they're like, well, you just got to give me a day to get a day. Little did he know in that time moment that Skilskin, whatever, takes advantage of it, and he takes the day that he was born. And that means the day that you're born, it means you don't exist anymore. So that happens. Everybody feels kind of sad about it, and Shrek's got to find true love to break the spell. It's just a whole different ordeal, and I don't even know how to explain this movie. It's so weird. So Shrek falls into this world. He goes around terrorizing people, and he's happy. He's like awesome. But then all of a sudden he realizes something's wrong. So he goes to which I don't understand, because I thought the kingdom of Far, Far Away was really far from like the swamp. I thought it was like 1,000 miles away or something like that, they said in the Shrek 2 series. But he runs all the way to his swamp, and his swamp's gone. Like it looks nothing like it did. And literally, and that's the thing, if you look in Shrek 1, if you look at it, they're on a hill looking down at Shrek's house. There's no hill at all anymore. So I just noticed those little things, I guess. However, Shrek is like, well, I got to do something. So he tries to find Fiona. He can't find Fiona. Next thing you know, these witches are around, and they find him, and they use these little bite pumpkin things and knock him out. They put him in a cell, and as they're taking him to Far, Far Away's castle, or whatever they call it now, I can't remember, he hears Donkey's voice, and Donkey don't know who the heck he is. He's like, ogre, quit talking to me. I don't know who you are. And it was just a bunch of things going on right there. Needless to say, Shrek breaks free. He steals Donkey, and then he's like, well, we got to find Fiona. But then he sees all these wanted signs of Fiona. He thinks it's Fiona, so he hurries and runs to the Dragon's Keep, realizes that Fiona is gone, and then next thing you know, Donkey runs away, finds some waffles, falls in a waffle hole. Shrek goes to get him out of the waffle hole, and comes out on these army of ogres. And pretty cool scenario, I guess. He because people would say ogres are huge, and these ogres were huge, and Shrek's small. And turns out Shrek's like a runt, by the way. He's like the runt of the family. He's a small ogre, surprisingly. And that's the reason why you'll hear people say, why the parents eat the rut to the babies because it's just something that they do. But somehow Shrek got away. So, anyways, he ran away when he was like 7 years old. But apparently, ogres do run away when they're 7. That's kind of like the moral thing to do. She can't find Fiona. Then all of a sudden, brr, you hear that kind of noise, horn go off, and there's Fiona. And he went to go hug her or whatever. And all of a sudden, she just pals him right in the face and like, get back from me. Come to find out, she saved herself out of that castle. She just decided to break the spell, So it was kind of one of those bittersweet moments. I wish they'd have done that during the daytime because I'd love to see real Fiona, like human Fiona, be with all those ogres. I thought it'd been so cool. But anyways, that happens. So Shrek has got to realize like, Fiona don't know who she is because she was never saved. She don't know who her true love is. She don't know that Shrek is her true love. So she has to go on this journey, and this journey is long. Let me just tell you, he's just trying so much. Oh, and he only has 24 hours to do this because after the day's up, it's over with. I'm just going to skip forward because let me just be honest with you. This movie is just kind of everywhere. At the very end, Shrek is disappearing. Rumpelstiltskin is as mad as can be, and he's happy because he's like, oh, time's running out. Time's running out. And he knows it's like either 50-50, something's about to happen. Next thing you know, Fiona realizes that Shrek is her true love. And as he is literally disappearing, like half of his body is gone. The next thing you know, she kisses him, whatever. And all of a sudden, the kiss worked. And next thing you know, all this stuff happens. Rumpelstiltskin he disappears forever inside of that. He's still falling to this day, apparently. I don't think that's true. I think he probably died. But anyways, that happened. And Shrek, he comes back to realization in the birthday party and realizes like he loves his family. So he does the roar and just says how much he loves his family. So it was the end on that. I don't think Shrek 4 is the greatest movie ever to exist. So that being said, Shrek 5, let's talk about it because Shrek 5 is going to be so much different than hopefully Shrek 2, which the director of Shrek 2 is also going to be the director of Shrek 5. So that's good to know because I think maybe by the end of it, they'll be able to kind of do something with that. And I think maybe bring back the Far, Far Away Castle, maybe if they go there. I don't even know if they're going there. We do know that Shrek's kids are grown up. So, we're about a year out from Shrek 5, like I mentioned earlier. So, Shrek 5, we don't know the plot at all. We saw that they redesigned Shrek and everybody hated it. So, I hope to goodness out of the good Lord that they bring the old Shrek back because you don't just change Shrek look. Like this dude right here, you don't just change that like that easily. So, we just hope that at least they do something different with it. And I don't know what the plot is. In the little sequel thing they did right there, the little teaser, they made it look like, there was TikTok that he was looking through himself. But I hope they don't take that direction. One thing I love about Shrek is it's like in a different universe. So like there's no phones, it's all like old cottagey and I love that. And they make their own little things that's funny, but I hope they don't bring phones into this. I hope that's something that they don't do. I hope they maybe keep it more stylish. I do think bringing Fiona's daughter into Felicia, I love that idea. Do I think they need to make it all about Felicia? No. Because the thing is, and the reason that they might have to, because Shrek, the whole series is closed. Like that closed. So this is kind of like something different, obviously. I hope that they do Shrek really good as far as like the storyline of maybe kind of like realization that he's getting a little bit older, but maybe not just keep it all there. Like maybe I don't know. I want it to be like like how Grown Ups is, the movie Grown Ups with Adam Sandler. It's just a stupid movie, but it's great. That's the way I want Shrek to be. I want it to be a great movie, but it not just have like this whole fairy tale like ending. Like I want it to be just a good movie. I don't care how they do it. I don't care what scenario. I just hope it's good. I just hope they don't bring the phones into it. I hope technology just isn't a thing. So I know that's kind of a big issue that they're having, kind of talking into it and everything. And at the end of the day, they'll do something great. And I know they will. They always do. And I think Shrek 5 will be great. Obviously, I'm going to go see it. I'm kind of to figure out how I'm going to do this because I want my Aunt Laurie to take me, but I also want to take my niece Luella. I want to take her as well to see it. But, she only lives 4,000 miles in another country from me now. Now, she still does. She has never lived near me. But I just kind of want to bring that all together, and see how that would go. However, though, I don't know how that would work. Excuse me, I'm yawning. See, that's one thing I don't like being at home because I yawn here. I'm kind of in the same scenario of being at the house. So I'm just in my living room. And, yeah, so Shrek, I hope we have another good 25 years of Shrek. I hope that everybody continues on with your Shrek raves. Everything that goes with Shrek is awesome. And, here's the thing. People talk about to me like, Gunnar, what is your obsession with it? I kind of joke about the obsession. I'm not really that obsessed with it like I would think some people are. Yes, my dogs, I have dogs. And while I'm at work and everything, I make them watch Shrek because it's funny to me. And they actually watch it. And that's what keeps them quiet mostly throughout the day. So kind of looking to see what's something that we can make that funny and do that scenario necessarily. And I think by the end of it, it'll all work good. I think it'll be something that we can all agree that Shrek would be the greatest thing. But Shrek is a good guy. I just think in today's society, the reason people like Shrek is because he's different, and we're all different, and that's okay. You don't have to like one another, but you can at least accept them, and make them feel comfortable here. So and I think that's exactly what people do with Shrek, and I know I do. I love just the way he is and the meaning of it. I don't even know if he knew his name when Donkey asked him. I don't know if he already had a name or just they called him the mean ogre or the ugly ogre, the green guy. Who knows? He came up with the name Shrek because he kind of got confused. He was like, Shrek? And maybe he had heard that from somewhere else. Who knows? Wouldn't it be a plot twist just saying Shrek 5? Let's just do it like this. Like Red Dead Redemption 2 takes the video game is like it's before what happened in Red Dead Redemption 1. So like, you in a real world, Red Dead Redemption 1 happened after Red Dead Redemption 2. I can't say that apparently. Wouldn't it be funny if they made Shrek 5 before? So like you meet him, you get to know a little bit more about him. What if like we understood that there's baby Shrek and like kind of, meet his parents in this and kind of understand that. And then all of a sudden say 35 years later or 40 years later and then put it on him to see how that would be. We don't know how old Shrek was in the movie. I don't know an age that Shrek would be. He don't seem like he's in his 20s anymore. He definitely don't seem like he's in his 30s. 40s maybe, 50s no. So I'm gonna say he's like 40 in the movie, but he don't feel like he's 40. He's pretty sharp for what he's doing. He don't look wrinkly, he's just a green dude. Who knows? He might have been 40, who knows, 49 or something. So yeah. Anyways, maybe we can realize that Shrek is going to be something great one day. And I hope Shrek, at the very end of it, at least understand that we love him dearly. We love Mike Myers. What a great choice it was. Yes, I hate that Chris Farley had died. I don't think people should die, but I don't think Chris Farley would have been the right fit for Shrek. And I get where that was coming from because, Chris Farley was living in a van down by the river. And I did a skit in that in college, but it was funny. So, but anyways, guys, I just want to thank you so much for coming on to the podcast today. I hope you like the new little setup. Now, listen, all the Shrek stuff ain't gonna be staying up here. I'm not doing it, but I do think I'm gonna keep it with everything, and we might start filming here. I have another little teaser coming out soon, and maybe we'll have another little location area to film. Maybe I just said it like this, and I told my roommate the other day, I was like, look, I love podcasting, and I haven't really gotten to do a podcast like I did with The Outsiders, where it's just me talking, like to a camera necessarily. Like everything else has been on a desk in my desk chair, and I don't like that. I want something a bit different. And I told him, I was like, I can't film in my bedroom. It's not gonna work. Like I just can't record. I've got to do like an actual camera setup, something like that. So here we are. I set up the cameras. I'm excited about how this worked, and it worked out great in here. I just thought of the other day, I was like, why don't I do it in the living room? So my roommate was like, yeah, I'm cool with it. So while he's at work, I said, well, I'm going to record and we're going to go with that. So anyways, guys, I hope you had a great time listening to the Stay in Your Lane show with Gunner Lane. We'll see you this time next week. Tune in, share this podcast, and have a great day. See ya. Bye-bye. That's better.